This is Barre Sculpt, Barre Strength. Go ahead and draw your knees up towards your chest. Just a set of light weights for today's class. If you're tracking your workout, go ahead and set your devices. Nice strong point through your toes as you draw your knees up towards the same shoulder. And then go ahead and take that knee up and over to the side, pressing your hips back. Coming into that low lateral lunge. Let's do one more on each side. And then come on down to a low wide squat. Your feet are wide than your hips, toes turned out, bend your knees down, bring your arms out to a T. Reach down, tapping towards the opposite inside ankle. Chin and chest stays lifted. Keep it going, keeping your knees nice and bent, hips stay low. One more on each side. And then keeping your shoulders stacked over your hips, arms forward in a windmill motion. Chest stays lifted. And then reversing that direction, warming up your shoulders, warming up your chest. From here, slowly hinge forward at your waist. Give yourself a nice big hug and then squeeze your shoulder blades together as you lift your arms up towards the ceiling. Go ahead and come on down to a runner's lunge. Right knee down, untuck your right toes, pressing forward into your left knee, opening up your right hip. Chin and chest stays nice and lifted. We're going to alternate drawing the hips back as you straighten your left leg and then pressing your hips forward, bending into your left knee. On the next one, we're going to hold the hips back, keeping that left leg straight, point flex, circle out the left ankle. Hold the left toes flexed, hinge forward, framing your left leg, maybe bringing the crown of your head towards your toes. Gently roll up on your next exhale, switching sides. Big step down with your left foot, pressing into your right knee, opening up your hips, chin and chest stays nice and lifted. Untuck your left toes. We're going to alternate drawing the hips back, straightening that right leg, and then pressing your hips forward. On the next one, we're going to hold the hips back, maybe point flex, circle out that right ankle. Go ahead and hold the right toes flexed, hinge forward, framing your right toes, crown of your head towards your toes. Maybe bringing your nose towards your knee, heart towards your thigh. And then gently come on up to standing. Roll your shoulders back, roll them forward. Shake out anything else that you may need to do so this morning before we get started. Just again, a set of light weights. You can also always keep a set of ankle weights on your ankles or on your wrists if you like for the entire duration of the class. All right, grabbing those set of light weights. One weight in each hand. We're going to come to a wide second plie, so your feet are wide than your hips, toes turned out. Go ahead and bend your knees down. From here, we're going to bring our forearms together. Palms are facing outwards. We're going to push up and then push out, pushing up and pushing out. Palms stay facing outward. Again, you can do this with weights, without weights. You can add those wrist weights on. Keep it going, keeping your hips nice and low, pressing up. Arms come down in front of your chin and then pressing out. Keep it going. Almost there. Keep the bend in the knees. Arms up, arms together, arms out. Still going. Still moving. Core is engaged. Almost there. Keep your elbows bent in front of you. Palms are facing down. We're just going to crisscross right over left, left over right. So your knees are staying nice and bent. Your arms are directly out in front of you. Your shoulders are stacked directly over your hips. Knees are tracking out over your toes. Keeping your knees nice and wide. Right over left, open, left over right. You're not opening your arms super large. Palms stay facing down. Keep it going. Almost there. Just a few more. Palms stay facing down. Right over left, open. Left over right, open. Keeping it going. Try to keep that deep bend in your knees, keeping your body completely still. Just your arms are moving, really firing up those shoulders. We're going to walk the feet in, drawing the heels to touch, toes to part in just a moment. One more on each side. All right, walk those feet in. Go draw your heels together, toes are apart, have a soft bend in the knees. Bring your hands to heart center, palms to touch again with or without those weights. Bring the arms up high overhead and then forward. Bring them up and then forward. Core is nice and engaged. Almost there. Moving here with your breath. Keep that deep bend in your knees. We're going to move some footwork here in just a moment. Almost there. Keep it going. Forward, draw it in, arms up, draw them down. Still going. Just a few more here. All right, last one. Go ahead and draw those arms down by your side from here. Elbows close in towards your ribs, palms facing out. We're going to step forward and step it back out. Step it forward, step it out. So you're alternating. Palms face out, elbows tucked in close to your sides. Elbows billow out, palms in towards your hips, palms facing down. Keep it going. Just that right foot is moving. Almost there. Maybe finding that little itty bitty shake of your muscles and that left leg at this point. Just open and close. Opening up those elbows and then tucking those elbows into your rib cage. Palms are facing out. As your elbows come outward, your palms are facing in towards your hip bones. Keep it going. Just a few more here. Give me two more. All right, next one, we're gonna hold the right foot forward. Bring the arms out in front like you're holding a big beach ball. Maybe we're all ready for this summer session with this super cold winter we're having right now. Arms are in forward and then down towards your hips. Keeping that bend in your elbows, chest is lifted. Keep a bend in both of your knees. Both of your feet are flat on the floor. Just a raise and a lower. Keep it going with or without those weights. Of course, if the weights become too much, set them off to the side. That's perfectly fine. Keep the bend in both of your knees. Avoid locking out your legs. Keep the bend in both of your knees. Maybe sink down an inch or two. Chest is lifted. Shoulders remain stacked directly over your hips. Check your alignment. Keep it going. All right, go ahead and relax those arms. Bring that right foot back in. We have the same thing, but the left side's moving. So step that left foot forward and back, and you're pivoting those elbows in towards your rib cage. Palm is facing out. As you step forward, your palms are facing in towards your hips. Keep it going. Almost there. Just that left leg is moving. Both of your arms stepping forward and back. It does not matter your arm placement with your foot placement as long as your arms are moving and your left foot is moving. Your right foot is completely glued to that floor. Your right big toe all the way to your pinky toe, straight back to your heel. Just that left leg is moving. Both knees are bent. Keep it going. Few more here. All right, give me one more. Hold that left foot forward. Bring the arms out in front. Now we're going to raise the arms overhead and then forward. Bring the arms up and forward. Still making that big circular shape with your arms, with or without those weights. Wrist weights, handheld weights, your choice. Keep it going. Overhead and back down. Almost there. Keep it going. Just a lift and a lower, not lowering the arms all the way down to your hips, just in front of you. Keep it going. Raise and lower. All right, give me one more. All right, go ahead and shake it out. Bring your feet hip width apart and parallel. Glue down through your feet. Hinge forward. Have a soft bend in your knees. From here, palms are facing down. We have a forward raise. Bring it down, out to the side. Forward raise. Bring the hands down towards your thighs. Don't hit your thighs. And then arms come directly out to the side. Palms remain facing down. Keep it going. Keep that soft bend in your knees. Chest stays lifted. Just the arms raise. Bring them down, out to the side. Bring them back down. Keep it going. Grounding down through your feet. Very nice. Forward raise, draw the arms down. Lateral raise directly out from the shoulders. Give me one more of each. All right, keep the arms in by your side. We're gonna keep those elbows bent. From here, feet are still hip width apart and parallel. We're gonna step out as we draw a bent arm, raise and lower. So your elbows are coming directly up to your shoulders. You're simultaneously stepping the foot out. Right steps out, steps back in. Left foot steps out and back in. Keep it going. As you raise your arms, your elbows remain bent at 90 degrees the entire time. Elbows raised, palms stay facing down. Elbows lowered down towards your rib cage, palms are facing in. Keep it going. Almost there. We're going to come down onto the floor next, and we will be on the floor for the remainder of the class. We're working that upper body right now. We're going to get into that lower body and that core next. Keep it going. All right, give me one more on each side. Stay with it. All right, go ahead and come on down. Set those weights down. From here, draw your left hand down, your left knee down. We're going to extend our right leg directly out from our side, and then just draw your right elbow wide behind your head. We're going to lift, lower, draw your right elbow towards your left wrist. Bring it up, lift, lower, release the foot down, release your top elbow down. Draw it back up, stacking your shoulders over each other. Draw it down and lift. Keep it going. Lifting and lowering that top leg. Straighten through that top leg. Point through that right foot. Your top right elbow is wide behind your head. Keep it going. Few more here. Lift, lower. Give me one more. Lift, lower, release down. Go ahead and release your right arm up towards the ceiling. We're going to lift that leg high. We're going to draw it forward and back to the center, directly down. Lift it up. Drawing that foot as far forward as you can. Maybe it's directly in front of you. Depending on your hip flexor, maybe you can bring it all the way in front. Maybe it's a 25-degree lift and lower. It's perfectly fine. And you want to directly release that foot back down, directly out from your hip. We're not going backwards yet. Keep it going. Lift, draw the foot forward, release it back down. Core is engaged. Point stronger through that right toe. Almost there. All right, hold that right foot straight out from your hip. Same thing, but we're going to go towards the back. So lift, tap back, lift, tap at center, lift, tap back, lift, tap center. So you want to try to keep this left leg and this left arm completely still. You're not rocking forwards and backwards. You're not rotating your whole body. It's just your top right leg moving. Keep it going, lifting up and back and forward. We're gonna lower that left hip down, that left elbow down, just a few more. Stay with it. Up and back, up and out from the side. Very nice. Stay with it. Keep the movements controlled. All right, last one. Lower that leg down to the center. Go ahead and lower your left hip. Lower your left forearm. From here, you can draw your top right elbow wide behind your head. Your knees are bent, your knees are stacked. We're just gonna lift and lower that hip. Get nice and cozy. We're gonna add on to this move here. So just lift and lower. Keep it going. Lifting and lowering. Just the hips. Making sure that left elbow is directly under your left shoulder. Lift and lower. Keep it going. Just the hips, raise and lower. Working that core. Right elbow's wide behind your head. Few more here. All right, option here. You can hold it lifted and give me that clamshell. You can also hold your hips down and work into that clamshell. You can also lift your hips and raise that clamshell. Just the top leg is lifting, so whether your hip is down on the floor, your feet can be glued together, or if you're able to control it, you can draw that top foot up in parallel with the knee. You can also lift the knee, lift the hip. You can hold it lifted and just lift and lower that top leg. However you'd like to do it. More core, less core, many options. Stay with it, just your left forearm down, left hip down. All right, still going, still moving. All right, go ahead and lower your hip. We're gonna extend that right leg. We're just gonna lift and lower, just lifting and lowering that right leg. Your core is engaged, your left forearm is down. You can draw your right arm up towards the ceiling to challenge your balance. If you'd also like to challenge your balance and add more heat to the core, you can lengthen that lower left leg, noticing how you're a little bit less stable. So maybe you're teeter-tottering forwards or backwards. You want to make sure that top right hip is stacked directly over your bottom left. You can also bring out that top right hand, box it out in front of you, whether both of your legs are straight, whether you have a bend in that lower leg. Keep it going. Just raising and lowering. All right, from here, go ahead and come on down. We're going to come down onto our entire left side. Body, extend your legs long. We have V-ups. So we're going to reach for those toes. Maybe reach for your knees, your ankles. You can also do just the top leg. You can keep your head flat on the floor and just reach your top hand to your top toes. You can crunch everything up, trying to keep the legs straight, more of a challenge. You can also bend the knees to make it a little bit less of a challenge. Do what you can today, reaching for your toes, your knees, whatever you can. Single leg reach, double leg reach. Keep it going. Lift and lower. All right, we've got a new one here. Coming up. All right, hold that right leg lifted. Go ahead and lower your left shoulder if you have it lifted. From here, you can box out your top right hand. We're gonna lift and lower that bottom left leg. Oh yeah, feel that burn in your outer left hip. So your left foot does not have to tap your right. You can also bring that foot down, placing your sole of your right foot behind your left leg. You can keep it up towards the ceiling. Just a lift and a lower. Try not to teeter-totter or roll side to side. Just lift and lower. Stay with it. Try to keep that bottom leg straight. You can have a bend that top knee if it's up towards the ceiling or if it's bent behind your leg, but try to keep this leg straight. Lift and lower. All right, go ahead and release that left leg down. Come onto your back. From here, we're gonna lay flat on our back. Hands down by your side. We have a right knee glute bridge raise and lower. Just the right knee lifts up off the floor so that left foot is grounded. Making sure that the sole of your left foot is planted to the floor. That left knee stays bent and you're just lifting and lowering both of your hips as well as your right foot up, and then release it down. Your shoulders are staying pressed down into the floor. Just a lift and a lower. Core is engaged. Keep it going, moving here with control. Lift and lower. Almost there. Just a lift and a lower. Draw that right knee in towards your right shoulder, avoiding your rib cage. All right, one more. Go ahead and plant that right foot down. Maybe move your hips side to side. All right, come back to center. Now we have the left side. Lifting that left foot up. Barely tapping your hips down before releasing right back up. The sole of your right foot is planted firmly into the floor, all the way from your big right pinky toe down to your heel, up to your big toe. Keep it going. Lift and lower. Drawing that knee up to the same shoulder. Again, avoiding that rib cage. Lift and lower. Don't worry, I didn't forget about the other side. We are going to do that next. Lift and lower. Give me two more. One more. All right, go ahead and lower your hips. Bring the soles of your feet to touch, or at least your big toes and the last part of your heels. So your knees butterfly open, glute bridge raise and lower. Just tiny squeezes, lift and lower. Keep it going, lift and lower. Squeezing your glutes at the top. Soles of your feet to touch. Keep it going. We're going to flip quickly on over to our right side, bringing your right knee and your right hand down. Give me three more. And two. Last one. All right, release everything down. Come on up. Quickly drawing, again, your right hand and your right knee down. Left elbow wide behind your head. Extend your left leg long. We have a lift and a lower that left leg. Tap the left leg down. And then you're crunching your left elbow towards your right wrist. Maybe your right elbow. Don't worry if they do not touch. You're just crunching down and back up. Keep it going. Lift, release. Core is engaged here. Almost there. Lift, lower, release down. Keep it going. We have those rainbow arches up next. All right, go ahead and hold that left leg down. You can draw your left arm up towards the ceiling. We're going to lift that leg up and forward, up and straight back from your hip. So you're not going any centimeter past your hip. Maybe look back and check to make sure you're not going back behind you. We'll get there next. Just a lift, drawing that left foot forward as far as you can and back to starting. Keep it going, just the left leg. Lift up and forward, up and straight back. Keep it going. Almost there. All right, last one. Hold that leg straight back. All right, now we have the same thing. We're gonna lift up and draw that foot back behind you and then directly out from your hip. So up and back. The height that you lift that left leg is also totally up to you. You're working that inner and outer thigh on the top leg. So on this side, we're working our left leg. If you have that high rainbow arch, that's fine. If you have a low rainbow arch, that is also perfectly fine. You can keep your top left hand on your hip, overhead, elbow wide behind your head, whatever works for you. Try to keep that left leg straight. Try to point more through your left toes. Your core is engaged. We're going to lower that right hip and our right forearm down in just a few. Keep it going. All right, last one. Once you bring it center, go ahead and gently lower on down. Go ahead and bend those knees. All right, from here, elbow wide. You have a hip raise and lower. So your knees are stacked. Maybe gazing down towards your forearm. Maybe gazing directly out in front of you. Think slow and controlled. You've got a few rounds of these that we're going to add on to, so don't worry about going for speed on these. You want to get those hips nice and high. Keep it going. Raise and lower. We're going to add in those clamshells next. Just working those obliques right now. Knees are stacked. Hip lift, hip lower. All right, so same options here. You can keep your hips down and you can open and close your knee, your top knee. You can add in that hip lift with a top leg lift and lower. You can hold the hips lifted and open and close. You can also keep those feet together and just open and close the top knee. If you're able to work from a controlled motion, you can also do that with your knees parallel, keeping your feet as high as your knees. So as you lift your knee, you're simultaneously lifting that back foot, or you're keeping that foot glued down together. Keep it going. We're going to lower that hip here in just a moment. Give me one more. All right, go ahead and lower all the way down. From here, go ahead and extend that leg. Lower like down, you're at the beach. And just a lift and a lower. Just that top left leg lifts and lowers. Maybe drawing that top arm up towards the ceiling. You can also box out that top left hand. Most important thing is that top left hip this time is staying stacked directly over your bottom right hip. So if you're able to keep your hips in line, stacked on top of one another, you can option to extend that lower right leg, option to extend your fingertips up high towards the ceiling. You can also bend into that lower leg. You can have a bend in that top knee if you'd like. Just lifting and lowering. The height that you get that top left leg is totally up to you based on your hip flexor and how tight your hips are. Just a lift and a lower. All right, from here, go ahead and extend your legs long. Prop yourself up on your forearm. We have those V-ups side to side. Try not to press off on your right hand, so we keep your right hand up towards the ceiling. You can also always just do your top arm, your top leg. You can reach for your knees. You can bend your knees. side V up. You're trying to crunch that left oblique, so as you extend, you're stretching it, and then you're crunching everything up together. Try not to press off of that right hand. If you do have that right hand down, just make sure you're placing your arm up, palm facing up versus palm down, because you're going to press into the floor. If your palm is up, you're not able to press into that floor. All right, here's the challenging part. Next, we're going to hold that left leg up, and then we're going to lift and lower that bottom right leg. You can adjust, your hand however you'd like. Keep it going. You can also bring your top hand and box it out. You're just lifting and lowering. You can lower that top leg, and you're still lifting and lowering that bottom right leg. Just a gentle lift and a lower. Maybe relaxing your head down on the floor. Keeping your core engaged. Whether you have that top leg lifted, you're reaching your bottom toes towards your top ankle. They do not have to touch. That's it. Give me 3 more. 2 more. Last one. Very nice. All right, go ahead and come onto your glutes. We're going to work some more abs. So from here, bend your knees, feet are flat on the floor. We're going to bring our arms out in front, Frankenstein arms, palms facing in. We're going to row back, and we're going to pull the arm back behind us so it's like a row as you simultaneously lean your back closer towards that floor, keeping your knees bent. The opposite arm stays forward, Frankenstein arm, as you row the opposite arm back. Keeping it going. Almost there. Really draw that palm back, imagining that you're trying to pull something out of your back pocket. That's how far back you are pulling that arm, all the way back and then forward. As you're pulling that arm back, reaching for your back pocket, maybe past your back pocket. You're also rolling backwards, bringing your lower back closer towards the floor. All right, give me 1 more on each side. All right, from here, from the same position, go ahead and bring your palms facing up. So Frankenstein arms, we're gonna lift the leg and give me a bicep curl. Now, a few options here. You can keep your hands empty, or you know what I'm gonna say, you can grab those weights and a bicep curl with that same knee lift and lower, so your knee's never touching your elbow. Your elbow is simultaneously bending as you draw your knee up. If you are touching your elbow, roll your waistband further back. Challenge yourself, keeping your core engaged. Almost there. Bicep curl, knee drive. Almost there, just a few more. Keeping those knees bent. All right, hold the feet flat on the floor. This time bring your palms towards one another. Same thing, hammer curl with the same knee, same arm. So same options here. Roll your waistband further back towards the floor if you're touching your elbow towards your knee. Or you can sit more upright if you're just lifting that foot barely up off the floor, which is perfect. Keep it going. Keeping those knees bent. Almost there. Still going. Still moving. Hammer curl, same arm, same leg. All right, give me 1 more on each, and we're going to roll our upper body back towards the floor. Roll all the way back towards the floor, resting your head flat on the floor. Legs are up to the diagonal. So from here, arms can be up towards the ceiling or down by your side. We're going to bend the left knee and extend. Bend the right and extend. So your legs are at that diagonal. If it hurts your lower back with the legs at the diagonal, you can bring your legs up towards the ceiling and still bending and extending into those knees. If the diagonal is too easy, you can lower those legs all the way to the hover. Most important thing is that your lower back is pressed all the way into the floor. Not a space of air, space of light, or liquid can get through your lower back and that floor, whether you're at that diagonal or you are at hovering closer towards the floor. Keep it going. Just a few more. Give me one more on each side. All right, wherever your legs are, up to the ceiling, diagonal, or close to the floor, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to lower or lift that leg. So if your legs are at that hover, we're going to lift the leg to the ceiling as your opposite leg hovers. If you're at that diagonal or up towards the ceiling, we're going to lower that leg as far as you can. Just a single leg, lower and lift. And then draw them back towards one another, and then switch. Your neck is flat on the floor. Wherever your legs are, whatever diagonal, up to the ceiling or low to a hover, your lower back is flat to that floor. It's flush, it's one with the floor. Your abs are not doming outwards. Your toes are pointed. Try to straighten your legs a little bit more. Keep it going. Almost there. Just a lower and lift. One more on each side, and then we are going to release those legs. All right, go ahead and release those legs down. Your feet are slightly wider than your hips. If you'd like, you can place those weights on your hips. We're just going to lift and lower. Your toes are slightly turned outwards. So if you like more of a glute workout, if you're not feeling this as much as you'd like, you can walk your feet all the way out past your hips, toes turned out, and give me a wide leg glute bridge, raise and lower. Again, your shoulders are pressed into the floor. So regardless of your foot placement, if they're slightly wider than your hips or very wide, you want your shoulders to be pressed firmly into the floor. Your toes are slightly turned out from your heels. Just a few more. Lift, squeezing your glutes at the top. Barely tapping down before coming right back up. All right, next one, hold the hips high. From here, knees draw in towards one another, and then knees open to your original starting position. So as you draw your knees together, your hips are lifted. Your knees do not have to touch. You're trying to draw the inner thighs towards one another, knees together, while simultaneously keeping your feet glued to the floor. Hips are lifted, so don't allow those hips to droop down as you draw the knees together, and then open again. Squeeze your glutes, imagining that your glutes are a sponge, that kitchen sponge. You want to get all of that excess water out of the sponge. Just a tap together and open. And again, they don't have to tap, just moving them in that direction, firing up your hamstrings. Just a few more here. Keep it going. Hips are lifted. All right, from here, hold your knees together as close as you can, and then lower and lift. Just a lower and lift. Your feet are flat on the floor. So your feet are slightly wider than your hips or significantly wider, depending on your placement of where you'd like your feet to be. And your knees are towards one another. Maybe they're touching. Maybe there's some space between your knees, but they are towards one another. And as you hold your feet apart, knees together, you're barely tapping your hips down before lifting right back up, squeezing everything together. Keep it going. That's 7 and 8. Last 9 and 10. Go ahead and release your hips down. Set your weights off to the side if you were using them. Draw your knees in for a nice stretch. You can grab the back side of your thighs. You can also grab the tops of your calves, avoiding your knees. Maybe rolling side to side. And bend your knees to 90, again, still holding the back side of your thighs if you'd like. You can also grab the outer portion of your foot, coming into happy baby, and again, rolling side to side. Nice lower back stretch. Trying to keep your back flat on the floor. You can extend one leg, and then switching sides, of course, making everything symmetrical. You can extend both legs. You can draw the soles of the feet to touch, maybe rolling side to side. Draw your knees back to touch, again, clasping underneath your shins or the back side of your thighs. We're going to rock and roll ourselves a few times along our spine. Maybe tap your toes and back down. And then go ahead and come up to a seated position. From here, extend your right leg. Draw the sole of your left foot to the inside of your right leg. Reach your arms up high overhead. With your left hand, place your right hand behind your hip. With your left hand, reach down, grabbing towards the outside of your right foot, maybe the outside of your right calf or your right thigh, avoiding at all costs grabbing any part of that knee. Pulling yourself down, maybe pulling the crown of your head towards your toes, towards your knee, your thigh. Reach for whatever you can. Again, the outside of your right foot, the outside of your right calf, or the outside of your right thigh. Right hand's behind you. And then gently come up. If you would like, you can hold on to that leg still, and you can lift your leg again, still holding on to that area. And then gently release it down. Extend your left leg, and then draw the sole of your right foot in towards your left thigh. Bring your left hand up, place it behind your left hip. Right arm comes up high overhead. And again, reach down. You're turning, if you're facing, you're trying to grab the outside of your left foot. You want to bring your thumb down, and you're grabbing the outside of your right foot. You can also grab the outside, your left foot. You can grab the outside of your left calf or your left thigh with your right hand, wherever you choose to, and then lengthen and pull your body closer down towards the floor. Again, your left thigh, your left calf, or your left outer foot with your right hand. If it's too easy, you can also bend that elbow, bring your body closer towards the floor, closer towards that left leg. Go ahead and come on up. A few options here. You can hold on to that leg and lift it up for a nice additional hip stretch. Wherever you're at, release it back down. Go ahead and draw soles of your feet to touch. Maybe moving butterfly pose here. Maybe rolling your neck side to side. Chin and chest, and down. If you'd like a more hip stretch opener, go ahead and bring your left knee on the floor, the outer left ankle, and then cross your right knee over. So this right knee can be directly on top of the left, or it can be staggered, like I'm doing so. Reach your arms up high overhead, and then fold forward. You're going to feel that stretch in your right hip. Fold forward. Simultaneously, maybe pressing your right knee gently down. Your left foot is already pressing your left knee down. Wherever you're at, gently roll up, and we're going to unbind and switch sides. So place your right knee down. You can have that foot tightly bent. You can also have it loose. And then bringing your left foot or your left knee on top of your right knee. They can, again, be crisscross on top of each other. They can be separate. Reach your arms up high overhead and fold forward. Your right ankle is pressing into, your left ankle is pressing into your right knee, holding that leg down. If you want to gently press your left knee down, opening up that left hip ever so slightly, you'll notice a smidge of a push is all you need to feel it. Gently roll up, unbind your legs. Give yourself a nice big round up and down. Fantastic work, everyone, today. Thank you so very much for joining me.